Youthquake Live is in my mind a lot this year because this is the 20th anniversary of Youthquake. January, we're having our anniversary show. But Youthquake Live started with 12 teenagers in a dream, in a little strip mall over by Poppy's Italian restaurant right down in Ponte Vedra. Right next door to that is where our church used to be. And our very first Youthquake Live was there. And it was a small little building. We had 12 teenagers in our youth group, and we had this vision. What if we could do something really different to make an impact on this generation? And so we had this idea of doing skits and videos and music and making it like a Christian version of Saturday Night Live. And so our 12 teenagers got a vision for that, and 2 of them went to another youth group, and they told that youth group, here's what we're going to do. And that youth group, Calvary Episcopal Church, came together with us, and we did our first ever Youthquake Live. And I mean, we were in this little strip mall. We had clip-on lights that we went and bought at Target and clipped them onto the ceiling tile. And we ran an extension cord through the back, and there was a guy in the back, Tim Harris, Eileen's son, that when it was time for the lights to come on, he would plug them in. When the skit was over, he would unplug them. That was our high-tech lighting system. And that first event, we had built this backdrop in our garage. A bunch of the teenagers came over and built this backdrop, and it was really cheesy looking, but it was cool because the teenagers had done it. We're standing behind that backdrop, kind of looking through the cracks, and 40 people showed up. We're like, there's 40 people out there. We're like freaking out, because when you're used to 12, 40's a lot. And so we did it, man, it was like the Little Rascals. I mean, it was campy and bumpy and, cheesy, but it was awesome because it was teenagers doing it. Right? And they were so excited. We said, hey, we're going to do this again next month. Next month, we did it again. A couple months later, we had like 75 kids. And now, 20 years later, we've seen God not only use it, multiply it. This year, we've crossed the threshold of over 1,000 teenagers making a first-time commitment to Jesus. Those are the ones that actually responded, that came up, that we're actually able to track and follow and make sure they're plugged into youth groups. But through the years, we saw God taking that little offering of that first group of teenagers that said, we don't have much. We got this little strip mall and some clip-on lights and a dream in our heart. We don't have much, but we're going to offer it to you, Jesus. You use this. Any way you see fit, you use it. And God used it. And then multiplied it. So then what happened as it began to grow, we started doing different churches at the beach. We had 500 people showing up down at Beach's Chapel. We're like really blown away. And then all of a sudden we said, let's cross the ditch. Because if you're a beach person, you'd rather drive 30 miles horizontal to the beach than 3 miles across the ditch. And so let's cross the ditch. We did a show at New Life. 1,000 people showed up. We're blown away. All of a sudden, the 700 Club found out about Youthquake. And they came down and they did a special on it. They actually had me fly up, and Daniel Williams, our founding pastor, went with me. We flew up and met with Pat Robertson. And that was a trip in and of itself. Do I have time for some stories? Because I got a really good story on Saul. They're saying yes because they want me to say something inappropriate. Because I just want the story. So we go to see Pat Robertson, and they're going to show him the video of Youthquake, but I don't know what clips they have. So we get there early, and it's like meeting with like a politician, right? They bring you in, you're going to have 15 minutes with Pat Robertson, and here's what he's going to do. And his coffee was there, his notepad was there, everything. He walks in, sits down, grabs his coffee, and he wants to see the clip of Youthquake. Fortunately, I got there early, and I said, can you show me what clip you're going to show? And the clip they were going to show, was this skit where Saul likes to improv a lot. If you guys don't know Saul and Carla, he's not here today, but Carla's here. And he's one of the founding people of Youthquake Live. And he was on the stage, and every time a person would go to bend over, he would make a noise. You can imagine what noise. And so here's the thing. The more the teenagers laughed, the more he would do it. It wasn't a part of the original skit. He improv'd it. And I go, I'm not showing that clip to Pat Robertson. I'm not sitting here with Pat Robertson watching that clip. Find a different clip, please. And so they did. They found a different clip. But then I explained the clip they were going to show to him when I got comfortable. He goes, I wanted to see that one. I'm like, no. So they did. They came down and they decided they were getting ready to kick off their Book of Hope campaign. And where they had portions of promises from the Bible that they'd put together in a book called the Book of Hope. And they decided to use Youthquake Live as the place to kick off their national Book of Hope campaign. And so here's what we did. For the whole season, we started getting youth groups to get a vision for this. What would happen if on one Saturday, everywhere in this city, whenever you drove anywhere, you would find teenagers just invading communities with the Book of Hope? We called it an invasion of hope. And so youth groups began to get a vision for this, and we picked a Saturday right after the season finale, and youth groups had signed up for certain amounts of books, and they had taken different parts of town. And so that Saturday, literally anywhere you went in the city, you would see teenagers just distributing this, putting it on people's doors, handing them out. And we were able, at the time, there were 500,000 homes in Jacksonville. We were able to give over 300,000 copies of the Book of Hope through youth groups all over this city. An invasion of hope. In fact, one youth group was right here in Ponte Vedra, and they were in one of the gated communities, and the guard came up to them and said, hey, you guys can't be here, what are you doing? And they would go, oh, we're a part of this big thing called an invasion of hope. Right at that time, we had paid not a lot of money, it was like $300, for an airplane to fly over the city, pulling a big banner behind it that said, teenagers invade Jacksonville with the Book of Hope. And right when they're talking to the security guard, the airplane flies over, and they go, that's what we're doing. It's a sign in the heavens. And the security officer says, okay, continue. And they continued.